I'm Tim, and this is Project 431. It's been a bit of an up and down week this week. There's been some highs, there's been some lows. It's been an adventure. So let's dive into it.
Good morning, it's 6 a.m. I'm going out Tuesday. It's cold, but it's not raining, so that's a plus. And it's going to be, in theory, my long run for the week. So about 9k is what I'm hoping. We'll see how we get on.
Tuesday started with my longest run yet, just under 9.4k. Took about an hour and 17 minutes. And it was hard. It was hard work. My legs were super sore as that was cracking on. My right knee hurt, my right hip hurt, my left Achilles hurt, but none of it too bad. It was just that monotony of like in the quads and the hamstrings that was really bothering me by the end. There was a number of occasions throughout that run where I wanted to give up. It felt like hard work, but I didn't give up. I got it done. And by the time I finished, I was super chuffed with myself. I felt on top of the world. It's by far the longest run, and yeah, it just felt great. It felt really fantastic to get it done, and a huge confidence boost as we're counting down now towards this 10k race. And the really good news, I found a solution to the nipple problem. I say I found a solution. I didn't find the solution. Cherie, the lovely Cherie, found a solution. And I came in the other day and she just handed me a parcel, and inside, a little tube of Body Glide. So that was nice. So I lathered that up a wee bit and job done. That protected the nipples. Yeah, I'm feeling quite happy about that right now. Then Thursday happened.
What's up, folks? It's Thursday. Today was supposed to be another run day, but unfortunately it was not to be. I've hurt my neck. This is a chronic issue that I deal with outside of spine injury. This is something new. My shoulders are a bit slopey, as you might be able to see. I'm not standing up straight, so maybe not. But I can't turn my head to the right properly at the moment, and anything jarring is really jarring and really uncomfortable. So we're not doing that. I'm not running like this. I need to give this a couple of days after to just settle back in to normal rhythm again. It's probably good for my legs as well. They're still feeling a little bit sore from my 9k. So instead, speaking of my legs feeling sore, Cherie and I are going to hop in the car and we are going to go for a bit of a walk this afternoon. We've got a quiet work afternoon, so we are going to go out. Still undecided on how far the walk's going to be. We've got two options. We're either doing 10k or 16k. We'll see how we get on.
So yeah, been having a bit of a neck issue. This is something that's happened to me throughout my entire life as I've known it. I've been doing some exercises for the last 2 or 3 years, some stretches and things, which seems to have alleviated a lot of the problems. Before, it would go into spasm and it would just spasm for nearly a week at a time and I wouldn't be able to do anything. And that would happen 3 or 4 times a year. Now it seems it's happening once or twice a year, and I'm getting 1 or 2 really bad days. And then after that, while it's still stiff and sore, I can pretty much go through day-to-day life. So yeah, it could be much worse, but I wish it didn't happen at all. It's still quite frustrating that it happens at all. But Cherie and I had a lovely walk. It was beautiful. It was one of my favourite places to walk around here. We chose the 10k loop because it was getting towards the end of the day and we wanted a beer and dinner when we got home. So that's kind of the main reason there. But I went out and it loosened up a little bit. I took the hiking poles just to keep my shoulders and my neck muscles activated and moving a bit. And it did make a bit of a difference. And I managed to get, and it was a tiny short jog in as well, just to see how the neck was feeling. which wasn't too bad actually once I'd warmed in. But we were already 5 or 6k into the walk at this point, so yeah, it was nice. It was a nice way to sort of keep the legs moving, but rest them a little bit. They were still pretty tight and pretty sore from my Tuesday run actually. This not being able to run as well gave me a bit more time to think, and I started. Well, I kind of planned out a hip strengthening and exercising routine because I'm getting some problems with my hips and I need to get on top of those early. So I've built a little routine to do in my off days. Kind of 8 exercises, all about stabilizing and strengthening my hips, and I'm just going to rotate through 4 of those at a time, just to help uh, prevent injuries. To be honest, this is I'm getting ahead of the problems before they arise here. They've been a bit sore, so now I want to get ahead of them and stop any injuries before they can really occur. Saturday rolled around, and while still sore in the neck, it wasn't too bad. I mean, look, right now, for example, okay, that's far enough. I can go pretty much 90 degrees in both directions, and I couldn't do that Wednesday or Thursday. So there's been some improvement here. Saturday though, I went out for a run.
Good morning, sheepies.
It was a pretty good one. I say it was pretty good. It wasn't. It was awful. I only did just over 5k, 5.2k, and felt like death. It wasn't my neck. It was just a really, really hard run. I just couldn't get into it. And I had loads of negative thoughts flying about. I was questioning this whole project. I just couldn't mentally get in the zone at all. But I did push through it. I got the run done. I didn't stop like I wanted to, and I just ploughed through it, which I feel pretty chuffed about now. Although at the time, no, I didn't enjoy it. I did not enjoy it at all. And Sunday was quite similar. Sunday, I went 6.2k, and I had a lot of the same thoughts and feelings. I didn't feel great. My legs felt sore, my hips were tired. The hills were super, super hard. I really struggled to get up any of the hills, and I just wanted to stop and walk. I just phone it in and walk back. But as soon as I kind of got to the top of each hill and there was a little bit of a cruise down or a bit flatter, I felt much better almost straight away, which was nice. So that gave me the incentive to every time I hit a hill to know I could just push up it and it would feel better when I got to the top. So I did manage to push through the run, but again, wasn't enjoying it a super amount. As I came back down, so as I was coming back down towards where we're staying, I had one final down and then an up. And I looked at my watch and I was like, 4.8k. And I knew I had a right hand turning coming up, and I could turn right and I could put an extra 1.2k onto the run, or I could just go straight and I'd nearly be done. And I ummed and ahed over this for a little while. Not for a little while, it wasn't that long, 30 seconds or so. But I ummed and ahed as I was coming up to the turning. And I knew if I turned right and I added the extra on, I knew I was going to regret it almost instantly. I knew I was going to be hurting. I knew I was already hurting. I knew I was going to suffer. But I also knew that if I didn't take the turning, if I went straight, then I might be happy in the short term. But I was really going to regret it later on. Even just that extra 1.2k, or not doing that 1.2k, I knew I'd regret it. So I turned right. I did turn right, and as expected, I was angry with myself in the moment. But by the time I'd got to the end of that road and turned around and come back, I was feeling pretty proud of myself and feeling pretty good. So that kind of began to quash the negative thoughts that I've been having this week about the project as a whole. I think if I'd have chosen just to go straight and take the easy road out there, that might have been the start of the end already. So I'm really chuffed that I didn't. I'm really proud of myself for just adding on that extra. You've got to take the small wins when you can get them. Overall, this week hasn't been great. Great start to the week with the longest distance yet, but a pretty poor middle with my neck, and then a couple of bad runs at the end there wasn't great. So just to finish it on that moment of me being like, oh, okay, I've made a good decision here. I think that sets me up well for next week. It keeps the project rolling as a whole. So I am feeling quite chuffed. And it did make me kind of realize here that there's going to be a lot of occasions throughout this where it's going to be very, very easy for me to just take the easy way out, for me to take the short term pleasure, but have to suffer the long term regret later. And I think today is Sunday, so I think today's run really did teach me that short term pain is going to be much, much better than long term regret.